Hey everyone, this is Diane Susie with the Activities for Daily Living Center. I'm volunteering with the Children's Health Defense Pennsylvania chapter, and we are interviewing people who will be attending our Spring Holistic Expo. Today with us is Mitch, the owner of Mitch's Medicinals. Hi, Mitch. How are you today?
Good. How you doing, Diane?
I'm doing all right. You're going to come to the expo, I understand.
Yes, I will be there. It's first time coming out of, some of the societal issues we've been dealing with. So it's good to get back out and talking and meeting people. Yeah. So it's
Agreed.
the first event. The last event was the flower show. We did a great job. We had so much fun. We talked to so many people at the Philadelphia Flower Show downtown.
Ah,
And then on that Sunday night, that was the end of it. Everything went on lockdown, and I haven't done anything. So this will really be the first show since that closing of, or beginning of something.
yes. Wow, so it's been a minute. So that'll be good, getting back out into the community and like you said, just
Yeah,
connecting with people again. It always feels good, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Get out of the house. It's going to be warm. We can go out and just
Thank God,
enjoy
because it's
the
been
sun.
freezing.
Yeah, it's going to get warmer. It's going to get warmer. It's real cold right now, but it's going to get
So
warmer.
that'll be good. Now I understand you will have a speaking spot. Do you want to give
Yeah,
us well, first,
yeah.
before we get into that, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and
Okay.
what started your journey with Mitch's Medicinals?
Yeah, so I'm a health coach in training by training. So that's what my passion. That's what I do is I help people through, lifestyle choices and choosing the right foods for your own biology and avoiding the ones that aren't good for your own biology. So that's my passion. That's what I'm about, and that just amazement in plant medicines and these natural botanicals that we have at our fingertips growing all over the planet, what they can do for your body led me to this particular compound, which is cannabidiol or CBD, which is one of the over 100 different compounds that are in the plant, and we're learning more and more and more about it. But CBD has been a special one. We identified this one has special powers that works with all the other cannabinoids, and that's kind of what we're going to discuss. Is really, we know about these two, CBD and THC. There's a whole slew of minor cannabinoids that we're learning more about, but it's really the balance of these two main ones, in my opinion, that can really, really get people some relief and some non-toxic and safe alternatives to either pharmaceuticals or to other compounds they're using for common everyday problems like pain, chronic pain. You have anxiety. We have a really societal anxiety problem right now for multiple reasons. So
Sure.
very good on those two big ones, but also depression and sleep are two other. They're the four big conditions that that just about everybody has in some capacity.
Right. Right.
Um, but there's a whole bunch of other conditions and diseases that it helps with. It's just a matter of finding the right, in my opinion, the right strain, the right dose.
It's
Um,
interesting that you say that because I was actually just going to expand a little bit, if that's okay. Like, I
yeah.
understand that it can be really helpful for individuals with PTSD,
Hmm.
just like you said, a myriad of issues,
Yeah.
inflammation, all
Yeah.
kinds of, it can help cancer patients with their appetite, with their nausea. Like, this is an amazing
Right.
plant. And
Yes.
speaking of plants, I may have even said that wrong. So if I did, please correct me because as I understand it, they're cousins, the hemp plant and the marijuana plant.
Marijuana. Well, it's a little bit more. They're actually the same thing. So they are both cannabis plants. I have some stuff that I bring to Saturdays.
Oh, great.
Can you see that? So I'm going to go over some of this, the history of cannabis, because there was you know, for some political reasons, hemp and marijuana, they were the same thing. It wasn't until
Mhm.
later on that we could understand it differently because we got a better understanding for the plant in general.
Oh,
So hemp is cannabis. It's just a subcategory of cannabis, and marijuana is more higher THC and more for recreational or medical applications specifically. Hemp has a broader, you can grow hemp fiber, which is about 15 foot tall, and you grow and you make plastics, and you can make fuels, all kinds of stuff
It's
with the fiber
amazing. These are
plant. So it comes
amazing
down to
plants.
genetics. So the difference between a marijuana strain that you got at your dispensary and a hemp is really just all cannabis. It's just the genetics and how they grow it.
Got it. Thank you for that clarification. Much appreciated. Because I know there, at least for the people who may be attending your class for the first time or your talk or workshop, I know as I started my journey, I thought it was the same thing. And the more I learned about the plant itself, I still
Yeah.
feel like there's so much more
Yeah.
I could learn.
Yeah. Hemp is an incredible resource that until recently we didn't have access to. It's kind of ridiculous. And I get in a little bit of that with I do a full presentation that's about an hour long. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on the science because I know once people understand what happened to this and
Mhm.
how this was used on a political and corporate interest forces that pushed this plant away from, and we lost access to it from a medicinal and from a fibrous standpoint. And it's really a crime. It's a crime against humanity that we've been dealing with. And now finally, after maybe about 100 years, a little less than 100 years, but 85 years, it's starting to, we're able to get it more readily without being prosecuted.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I meant about that education. I love
Yeah,
when people, I hope I get to stick around and hear you speak because I really feel like when someone hears what I feel like I think you're going to be explaining to people,
yeah,
it's a jaw-dropping kind of moment. It's just
yeah.
like, wow, I
I
had
know.
no idea.
Yeah, I know. It's really it really ties into some of the political and some of these forces that are taking place today.
Yeah,
When you hear about how they paid for propaganda and they
right.
paid for misinformation to miscommunicate for people to misunderstand is the right word to use what marijuana is and what cannabis is what they known it as. So
Sure.
I'll get into that. There's some really exciting stuff about how even the AMA was confused. We're going to get into a little bit of that, and
I'm
that's really
looking forward to that. I think that the
yeah.
people who come and sit and have an opportunity to hear you speak I think that they will very much walk away with a whole new education.
It usually takes about 45 minutes or 50 minutes to go through it because there's a decent amount of history to go through and walk them through that, but then you get into the science. So I'm
Sure.
going to try and compress it as best I can because, like I said, the history can really they're amazed and they don't know this information and it's all there. I mean, you can research it,
Right.
information yourself. It's just we were
Sure.
never told it. We were never told it. We didn't
Right.
know it. So we didn't dig deep enough on it. But it's
That's very
really
interesting.
interesting. What's
Yeah, I
that?
just said the same thing. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you kind of spoke a little bit about your 20-minute speaking slot and your workshop. Do you have like a story that you might want to share that really propelled you to create a company
yeah.
for this?
Well, yeah, I was going through a few life events, and those life events at the time, just like now, I mean, most people, you go to your doctor and they offer you, their solutions to these problems and it's really just a cover up. I feel like the solutions that they offer just
Mhm.
cover up the root problem. Some of these things that I was dealing with, I think you have to deal with. These are life instances, and you have to find a way to get through them in an emotional and communication and talk therapies.
Mhm.
Um, so I used all that. I tried some pharmaceutical products that I did not like that made me just not feel right. And then I kind of, there's a long story here. I mean, I got pulled away from my roots. I lost my father. He was an
Sorry.
inspiring force for me for taking care of your body and treating it and not, using too many pharmaceuticals. Of
Mhm.
course, there's some that are unavoidable. We all have some serious conditions. I've been blessed to find natural resources that really help me, natural solutions, meaning botanicals that help me. And I think I can guide them along with a lot of botanicals because it's not like a pharmaceutical. It usually is dose dependent. You usually need to take a little bit more than what's on the bottle, and you have to try it for a little bit longer period of time. And I say the same thing when I recommend the CBD products. You really have to test it for your own needs. You know, the H dose is going to be different for everybody.
Sure.
You might need a little bit more in
Right.
certain situations, or you might need a little bit more than another person for a multitude of reasons. But it has a lot to do with assimilation and absorbing the nutrients properly.
Got it.
So I got a little sidetracked. So anyway, I lost track of what I really love, which is natural health.
Hmm.
And I realized after trying some CBD, like this was just a natural solution. And what it did for me, it helped me with my anxiety. It helped me with my sleep. It helped me
Hmm.
with recovery, you know, after I like to stay active. So it
Sure.
was really remarkable. This was back in 2014. And I really just started obsessing about it and really learning more and more and more and more. And I partnered up with a company and we divorced, and then I started my own company. But in that process, I learned a lot about what the market is like and what products work,
Right.
and so forth. So I deal with a lot of healthcare practitioners and chiropractors. So I was able to present to them different options, and we got a lot of feedback.
Hmm.
And I adjusted formulas, and we tweaked it, and we figured out what worked and what was better than other solutions that we knew on the market. So yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it, I mean, since 2015, which is a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
most companies, they might say a couple years, or they have big corporate,
Yes.
interests, so they look differently. I'm a small local business, and really got started in wholesale. Since COVID, I've had to pivot and do more direct to consumer, which is okay, but it's definitely different
Sure.
than a wholesale type, company.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Well, I
I have
know I
what's that?
found you at a conference. We belong to a lot of the same groups.
All right,
So on
okay,
social media, but we met at a conference, and
right.
I've been following you, and I'm really excited that you're going to be there. Like I said, I hope I get an opportunity to sit down and hear you speak or pop into the workshop, because
Yeah. Well,
I'm
I'll give
sure
you one of
you're,
these. I'll definitely give you. I have a whole, overview that I'll give
oh,
to
that's
people,
great.
so they'll have, some of the terms and just learn a little bit.
Got it.
So yeah, I'll go over that. It's really an interesting story. It really is. I'll go over in the workshop. I'll show you all the different modes of administration. You can do topical, where you're putting it on an area. You take it sublingually, where you put it under your tongue and leave it in your mouth. You can orally have gummies you can eat, and
Okay.
that activates it. There's inhalation or smoking, which, we can talk about. A lot of people have a lot of questions about that. If you're really
Yeah,
trying to be healthy, you got to watch what you're inhaling and how you're inhaling it.
absolutely.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
and
It
then there's
sounds like
transdermally.
you've got something for every question, because as I've been telling these people I'm interviewing, you know, uh, I'm kind of sort of a newcomer, but for the absolute newcomer, you having something to provide them when they leave, because that's a lot of information. It's a lot to
Yeah,
take in.
yeah,
So the fact that they'll be able to leave with something in hand and
yeah,
reread it, and I think that will be very helpful for people.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's about education. That's the hardest thing with COVID, is really being able to talk and educate people, and help them understand what it is and what it isn't, and help answer their questions. I take calls all the time. I try to make myself available, and my customers will attest to this. If you have any
Mhm.
questions, just call, and I'll help you, get you, guide you through it and help answer your question. Because there's usually some confusion around CBD. You know,
Yes.
we have to understand I have to understand what their expectations are, what they think it is, what they think it's going to do, and they have to know how to take it. It's
Right.
not like take it a couple times and then you're okay. You tried 10 drops. You have to stick with it, and there's a plan that you need to go with, and try to document and journal what's happening. That's the best thing to do.
I think that's a great idea, because you're right. A lot of people will try it and be like, I did it for 2 days, and that,
Right.
it just didn't do anything for me. They don't
Right.
realize what you just
I know.
explained. So
A lot of times it's when they stop taking it, they realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I was helping with me with sleep, or how much I was dealing better with anxiety. You don't know until it's gone sometimes. You're like, oh man, I really feel that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly. Now,
So
do you know what time you're speaking?
it's it was at 9:30 and then the workshop was at 11. And now I think it's both at the same time. I think it starts at 9:30 and then the workshop is at right after, like 10:10.
Okay,
So it's I think it's first thing.
wonderful. That'd be good. You
Yeah.
catch everyone bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That'll be
That's
good.
what I think.
It'll
I
be
think
good,
so. Yeah.
especially if it's going to be warmer. So that'll be a good
Wow.
thing as well.
Right. Yeah. It's supposed to go up to 70 on Thursday. So
And right now, what is it, like 25 degrees out there? I can't.
my ground's frozen here, but it's okay. It's going to be better.
Right.
You
Spring
know,
is on its way. It's almost here.
it's almost here. The
Yes.
sun's stronger. That's what I love.
Yes.
There's so much more sunlight pouring in, and when it hits you, you feel it. You know, you can feel that vitamin D, and you can feel it charging you up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. Like you said, we've all been kind of cooped up in the house, and we
Yeah.
just all need some of that vitamin D and just some of that connection, just
Yep.
getting
Yep.
together and sharing information and ideas. It's just,
Yep.
we
I
need it.
know. I know. I agree.
You
We
know?
all do. We all need
Oh,
some hugs. Maybe we'll mandate some hugs. Mandating.
right. Hugs at the door or no entry.
Kevin Jenkins does that. You know Kevin Jenkins? Anyway, is it Kevin Jenkins? Yeah, it's Kevin Jenkins.
Yeah.
You know him?
No, I know the name. Is he a
Yeah.
comedian?
What's that?
Is he a comedian?
No. He's
Why do I know that name?
because he's good friends with Robert Kennedy.
Okay.
He wrote
Okay. Oh my gosh, now I'm embarrassed. I'm
they did the
sorry.
documentary, the medical discrimination or medical, I can't remember, but he did it with him. And medical racism was what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. I still haven't seen that. I want to see that. That looks very, very
Yeah.
good.
I know. I saw clips of it. He talks a little bit in his book, The Real Anthony Fauci.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm looking forward to
yeah,
seeing
me
you.
too.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing this. Now, for people
Thank you.
who may not be able to make it, how can they reach you? Where can they find you? Are you on social media? I see a website. You have a website. Would that be the first line of reaching you?
Yeah. At that website, you can get our phone number. We have an email address as well to reach out. And you can get us that way. I mean, that
For our
number.
hearing impaired people, can you just give us the name of the website?
Oh, it's mitchellsmedicinals.com.
Thank you.
www.mitchellsmedicinals, MITCHELLS, and the medicinals, MEDICINALS.com.
Thank you, Mitchell. I appreciate
Sure,
it.
thank
We try
you.
to be a very inclusive community. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you.
Excellent.
It's
Me
just a
too.
few days away. So
Yep.
as soon as we're done, I'll be sure to send you the link, share it with all your followers. And did you want to close with anything in particular?
I mean, if you have any questions, please feel free to call. I love talking. I talk to people on my phone line, and I consult
Okay.
with people all the time. So call with any questions anytime. All right.
Will do. Thank you again so
All right.
much for taking the time out of your day. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I'll be sure to list all the email contact works. Well, I say email, but all the different ways that people can contact with you and keep up with Mitchell's Medicinals.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.